Welcome, William. Today, we're going to explore the fascinating world of conditionals and see how they can enhance our ability to communicate effectively in English. Conditionals are powerful tools in English that allow us to discuss possibilities, imagine different outcomes, and even plan for future scenarios with precision and clarity.
That sounds really interesting, Emily. I use conditionals sometimes, but I'm not always sure if I'm using the right type for each situation.
Don't worry, William. Once you understand the different types of conditionals and their structures, you'll be able to use them with confidence and accuracy.
That's great to hear. Can we start with the basics? I'd like to know what exactly defines a conditional sentence in English.
Sure, a conditional sentence is a sentence that expresses a condition and its result. It usually has two parts, the if clause and the main clause.
That makes sense. So, the if clause states the condition, and the main clause explains what happens if the condition is met, right?
Exactly. For example, if you study hard, you will pass the exam. Here, the condition is studying hard, and the result is passing the exam.
That's clear now. Are there different types of conditionals, and do they have specific rules for their usage?
Yes, there are four main types of conditionals: 0, first, second, and third. Each has its own structure and is used in specific contexts.
Can we start with the zero conditional? I've heard about it, but I'm not sure when or how to use it.
Of course, the 0 conditional is used for general truths, scientific facts, or things that always happen under specific conditions.
So does that mean the zero conditional is about situations that are always true, no matter what?
Exactly. For example, if you heat water to 100 degrees Celsius, it boils. It's a fact that never changes.
That's clear now. What about the structure? Is there anything special I should know about it?
The structure is simple. Both the if clause and the main clause use the present simple tense.
Got it. Can you give me another example? I think more examples will help me remember better.
Sure, if you don't water plants, they die. This is another general truth that applies to all plants.
That makes perfect sense. I think I've understood the zero conditional. Can we move on to the first conditional?
Absolutely. The first conditional is used for real possibilities or situations that are likely to happen in the future.
Is the structure of the first conditional different from the zero conditional?
Yes, it is. In the if clause, we use the present simple tense, and in the main clause, we usually use will or might.
I see. So an example would be, if it rains tomorrow, we will stay at home. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly. This sentence shows a realistic possibility in the future.
That's helpful. What if I want to talk about hypothetical situations or things that are unlikely to happen?
In that case, you would use the second conditional. It's great for discussing hypothetical or unlikely situations.
That's interesting. How is the second conditional different from the first conditional?
The second conditional uses if plus the past simple tense in the condition clause and would in the main clause.
Can you give me an example to make it clearer? I want to make sure I understand it.
Of course, for example, if I had $1 million, I would travel around the world. It's an unlikely situation, but fun to imagine.
Oh, I see. So the second conditional is about dreams or things that probably won't happen.
Exactly, it's perfect for expressing wishes, regrets, or imaginary scenarios.
That's really useful. Now, what if I want to talk about the past? Something that didn't happen but could have had a different result.
For that, you'd use the third conditional. It's perfect for discussing unreal situations in the past.
That sounds complex. What's the structure of the third conditional?
The structure includes if plus the past perfect tense in the condition clause and would have plus the past participle in the main clause.
Can you give me an example? I want to understand how it works in a sentence.
Sure, For instance, if I had studied harder, I would have passed the exam. It's a regret about the past.
Oh, now I understand. So it's all about reflecting on things that didn't happen but could have been different.
Exactly, it's often used to express regrets or imagine alternate outcomes in the past.
That's very helpful. Is there any advice you can give me for practicing these conditionals effectively?
Yes, try creating your own sentences for each type of conditional. Also, practice with a partner and focus on real life scenarios.
That's a great idea. I think I'll start with the first conditional because it seems the easiest.
Good choice. Once you're comfortable with the first conditional, you can move on to the second and third.
I'm excited to practice. I think I understand the basics now, but how can I be sure I'm using the right conditional in real conversations?
A great way to practice is by paying attention to the situation you're talking about. Is it a present, future, or past scenario? That will help you decide which conditional to use.
That makes sense. So, if I'm talking about something real in the future, I'd use the first conditional, and if it's a hypothetical past situation, I'd use the third conditional, right?
Exactly. Just remember, each conditional serves a different purpose. The first conditional is for likely events, the second is for unreal situations, and the third is for past regrets.
Got it. I think with practice, I can get the hang of it. Any final tips for mastering conditionals?
Absolutely. The best way to master conditionals is to read, listen, and speak in English as much as possible. Pay attention to how native speakers use them.
I'll definitely do that. I'll also try to listen to English podcasts and watch movies.
That's a great idea. Watching movies and listening to podcasts will expose you to natural conversations and real world examples of conditionals.
I can't wait to start. I think I'll focus on understanding conditionals in conversations first.
That's a good plan. Remember, the more you practice, the more comfortable you'll become with using conditionals naturally in your speech.
Thanks, Emily. You've been so helpful. I feel more confident now.
You're welcome, William. I'm glad I could help. I'm sure you'll be using conditionals perfectly in no time.
I'll keep practicing, and I'll let you know how it goes.
I look forward to hearing about your progress. Good luck with your practice.
Thanks, Emily. I feel more prepared now. I'll definitely keep you updated.
You're very welcome, William. I'm excited for your progress. Keep up the great work.